So I'd like to introduce Maraíza Pereira dos Santos, who is from São Paulo State University, and she will be giving a talk saying leafing responses are driven by interannual climate variation in seasonal tropical forests.
Hello, can everyone see my screen? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And hello, everyone. My name is Maria. I'm currently pursuing my PhD at the Center for Research on Dynamics of Biodiversity and Climate Change Phenology Lab at UNESP. It is a pleasure to be able to share insights on this crucial topic, which is climate change, and especially how interannual climate variability drives the leafy responses in seasonal tropical ecosystems. So when I talk about the leafy responses, I'm talking about the seasonal events such as production of new leaves and leaf shedding from plants. And in other words, we call it phenology. And leaf phenology plays a crucial role in defining the seasonality of tropical plant communities, which is evidenced by the contrasting patterns of deciduous and evergreen species. And these patterns not only control plant rhythms, but also regulate the feedbacks between vegetation and climate systems, such as the energy flux, photosynthesis, and ecosystems productivity. And because of this, seasonal changes in leaf phenology are increasingly recognized as key indicators of species responses to emerging environmental changes, especially in seasonal ecosystems like the tropics, where these patterns are closely linked and highly responsive to climate variability. However, studies including reports from the IPCC and UNISDR have shown that climate change has led to an increase in the severity and frequency of extreme weather events, especially droughts. And as a result, trends towards increasing in temperature and changes in rainfall dynamics can make species response less predictable. So if we look for tropical forests where dry and wet seasons are well defined and in this context of the climate change, dry seasons that are either longer or more severe than usual, as projected in this hypothetical case, may disrupt the timing of leafing and reproductive events, since these processes are typically triggered by the first rains at the end of the dry season in the tropical forest. But studies on the effects of droughts in tropical vegetation phenology and productivity have mainly focused on rainforests, specifically in Amazon rainforests in the neotropics, and leaving unclear responses in the semi-arid and water-sensitive areas, despite the expected influence of the seasonal shifts and dry trends for these locations. And in the neotropics, the Caatinga and Cerrado biomes, highlighted in this figure on the right, represent two main important examples of these critical regions to investigating how climate variability affects the leaf phenology due to the high seasonality of these ecosystems. And the Cerrado is the second largest vegetation type in Brazil, feature a gradient of physiognomies from open grasslands to dense woodlands. And in our study, we examined two sites. On the right, we have a wood cerrado. It's a dominant layer of trees and shrubs ranging from 3 to 12 meters in height, with a discontinuous canopy and scattered herbaceous layer. And this other side represents the transition from the wood cerrado and dense cerrado forest, and it is characterized by the less discontinuous top canopy, nearly no herbaceous layer and high density of shrubs and trees. And both areas experience market seasonality with a dry season of 5 to 6 months. And annual precipitation ranges from the 1478 millimeters in the Wood Cerrado and 1499 millimeters in the dense Cerrado forest. And we can find deciduous, semi-deciduous, and evergreen species in our locations. So in the Caatinga dry forest, the climate is marked by the high seasonality of rainfall events with less than 600 millimeters per year, which results in a prolonged dry season for the most of the year. And these conditions restrict the leafing patterns of plants, and most species are deciduous, losing all the leaves during the dry season and flushing rapidly on the onset of rainy season. And in this context, we aim to understand how interannual climate variability has affected the long-term leaf phenology patterns, specifically the start and the end of the growing season in these seasonal tropical ecosystems. Sorry. And despite the seasonal patterns of ecosystems like the Caatinga and Cerrado, predicting the leaf phenological responses to climate change is challenging, as we know. And phenological changes occur at the individual level, but can vary across different scale. And by combining remote sensing techniques like the land surface phenology and near surface data, we can capture large-scale phenological patterns, improving our understanding how about these ecosystems are responding. So to investigate long-term leaf phenology change in the Caatinga and Cerrado, we used over 10 years of satellite derivative time series, using the Enhanced Vegetation Index, or AVI. And in this work, we also use daily cameras data to validate and understand the effects of droughts on individual vegetation. And I will talk a little about this later. So in this graph illustrated how we extract the growing season transition dates, detail leaf patterns of the start and the end of season, that based on the seasonal trajectory of the vegetation index, which describes the variation of the green vegetation. Thus, to access this influence of interannual climate variability of leaf phenology, we also analyze the trends in long-term climate series, specific especially precipitation and air temperature, and we identify drought trends using the SPI index that use standardized precipitation and evapotranspiration to assess the probability to drought occurrence. And so let's take a look at the preliminary results from our research. So regarding the interannual climate variability, we observed the climate trends of rainfall in the left panel and air temperature on the right. And we find, in general, a decreasing trend in precipitation in the Wood Cerrado. However, for the other side, it was not significant. However, for air temperature, the trend analysis reveal a significantly increased trend and abrupt fluctuations in this local air temperature reveal the vulnerability of these ecosystems. And additionally, regarding the drought trends in the study areas, Our analysis reveal patterns of intensity ranging from moderate to extreme droughts over the years. And in the Caatinga, we identify extreme droughts in 1993 and in 2017, while in the Cerrado, we saw similar intensity of different years. However, I'd like to draw attention to the exceptional droughts events that affected the three locations, specifically in 2012 for the Caatinga and 2021 for the both regions of the Cerrado. And in response of these conditions, the EVI time series anomalies indicated unusual variations on vegetation greenness with abrupt abscission of the or shedding of these leaves in the Caatinga during the transition from the wet to dry season, especially in years following several droughts that have become increasingly frequent, and as highlighted in 2013, 2017. The Caatinga showed several droughts, and in the Cerrado, anomalies were less consistent, but years like 2021 exhibited significant negative values, specifically in Wood Cerrado, as coincided with the most intense droughts, as observed in the Caatinga. And this indicated that extreme droughts in 2021 and 2022 likely caused substantial stress to the vegetation, as reflected in these greenness anomalies of EVI. And now we want to understand how it's happening in these anomalous years detected by the satellite time series. And to do this, we have been using data from phenocameras. These cameras are set up close to the vegetation, allowing us to observe individual phenological patterns. And on the left side of the slide, we can see an example of the phenocamera image where specific regions of interest represent three canopies of species. In this case, we're monitoring around 46 individual trees of various species from the Caatinga dry forest. And in the box plot, we have a preliminary results on the right. We observe the variability of the onset of the growing season across the years. For example, during dry years such as 2017, and notably after the extreme droughts in 2012, the species exhibited high level of synchrony, and they suggest a rapid response of the species to the first rainfall events in this biome. And interestingly, while in the start of growing season fluctuates, the end of the growing season remain stable. And our major finds at the moment is that drought events has affected the rainfall, especially the Cerrado wood, and air temperature trends in both seasonal ecosystems. And it's something we're investigating, but the beginning of the growing season seems to be affected by the drought and then the end of the growing season. And we might find some findings to encourage these findings actually. So thank you for the opportunity to present these findings on behalf of the collaborators involved in this research, and for your attention. And feel free to send me comments or any questions. But if you don't mind, I would like to answer questions directly in the chat. Okay, and thank you.